Morning everybody, JT Bear here. Today is a project day. I was doing some archery with my boys yesterday and we ended up with some sore fingers because we're all a little rusty on that one. So I did a little looking on YouTube. I saw a video by, I'm going to say this wrong, BackyardBowyer. I believe Nick is his name. He does a lot of really fantastic videos on using PVC to make basically everything you need for archery, and this is no exception. He has a fantastic little release. I'll show you my drawing of what I saw, and I'm a woodworker, so that's what I'm going to use, and let's just see how this works out. I'm super excited because it looks really straightforward, and hey, it's woodworking. This is something I've been doing for a long time, and it's something that might just improve my archery, so that works for me too. Let's get started. So here's a basic drawing of what I'm going to try and make out of, it's going to have to be a really hard wood because I don't want, pine would rip apart or cedar would probably rip apart after a few shots. But, I've got some cherry that was felled in the backyard. I've got lilac, which seems pretty hard. I live in the valley here. There's lots and lots of apple trees around, so I'm sure I'll be able to find something to give this a try. So what I've gone ahead and done here is I've traced that out with a Sharpie, a felt marker, and then taken some paste glue and just glued my piece of paper onto just a piece of little plywood here. It's a little thicker than I would like, but I happen to have it lying around, so I'm not going to spend money on this. But this way I'll be able to make myself a basic template, and I'll have a wooden piece to fit in my hand and make any adjustments that are necessary that I can then use to trace and make more of these for the boys or for some friends. Gonna let that glue dry, which shouldn't take long in this sun, and get back to it. Alright, now that my glue is set on my pattern on my piece of plywood here, I'm just gonna cut this out. But because this old scroll saw is pretty loud and annoying, I'm gonna speed that up so you don't have to listen. It's also more than a little damaged. The basic design. I got lots to clean up still. I'll get back to recording when that's done. So for this next little bit, I'm just taking cordless drill and the 20 mil bit. Gonna cut out my basic hole there, and I'll use a file to shape it for my finger. But can't hold the camera and the drill at the same time, so you gotta miss that bit. Well, I tried drilling this from both sides to prevent shattering because it is just cheap plywood, but as you can see, that didn't work out for me. Luckily, when I make these to actually use them, I'll be using a solid piece of hardwood. But now I suppose I should test this and see if it even works. Alright, well, unfortunately all I've got to test this with is an incredibly crummy old longbow that has been strung for far too long, lost the vast majority of its weight or strength or whatever you want to call it. I'm betting if I used a scale, this thing would probably only pull like maybe 20 pounds. That's what got me looking at BackyardBowyer's stuff in the first place. Gonna make me a new one out of some PVC that I got lying around. Until then, classic POS longbow it is. However, it should work for purposes of demonstration. So here is a really rough cut pattern version out of the wrong wood. Just kind of knocks, kind of holds onto the string in that little circle there. Finger through the hole. I've got 3 fingers to draw with, which is nice. And I know my form is terrible. But I have to say, the release on that is really nice. I imagine it'll take me a little while to get used to, but I think it'll be a very good thing to have. Can't wait to try this on a decent bow. I can feel the cracks in this thing with every pull. I'm having a bit of an issue keeping the arrow on here because this is a self bow. But hey, I only made this thing like 10 minutes ago. Yeah. That's gonna be fun. So I have a burlap sack over here that I filled with plastic bags to kind of dissipate the energy of target practice, but that proved to be too much for that old longbow. Can't punch through. So I've got a yard waste bag here. Nice big red target, very convenient. I'm using that now. Well, a couple punched right through there, eh? That was interesting. Almost seems like I get a little bit more punch out of that beat up bow with that release. They weren't going through yesterday. Well, I was thinking about getting some video of me shooting towards the camera, but I'm not sure that my aim is good enough with that brand new toy just yet. So maybe in a future video, we'll see. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transfer that pattern onto a nice piece of hardwood, cut it up, sand it up, polish it up. Pretty sure I can make something that will look a whole lot nicer than the pattern does. Maybe I'll get an image of that for you before I'm done. Better get started. So really quickly, because my battery's dying, here's the one I ended up making out of, I think this was just pine. It started off as a spare bit of board in the backyard. More or less, does exactly what I wanted it to. I have already learned that thinner, maybe 3/4 inch starting point would be good. And I need to move this finger hole back a little bit so that I can make this a little bit deeper. I have had 2 accidental early fires. Luckily nothing was harmed. But, you know, a little cleaning up, a lot of sanding. This is going to save my fingers a lot of pain. You want to see how this one fires? Now, like I said earlier, obviously one of the biggest issues I've got with shooting is the quality of the bow that I'm currently using. But that being said, this is about the release. Snap it on underneath, wrap my finger over. I find with that longer bit there, I can even get my thumb on it for a little extra leverage. That's going to be great once I use the 1 inch. Because from what I see, that's like a 100-pound draw. It's much nicer now that I tapered the tips. Definitely going to make for a much more enjoyable outing when I finally get to that bow fishing. Certainly making target shooting a lot more enjoyable. Could probably do this all day now. Take a look really quick at the grouping here. That's not too bad. I hope the battery lasts for this. Now these look like they're really spread apart, but I'm aiming for different parts of the bag. With the aluminum shafts, I don't want to hit an arrow and bend another one. Now let's see if I can put that just to the right of the one with the yellow feathers. Alright, so if you're going to make this, I'd recommend making it out of a thinner wood. 1/2 inch to 3/4 ought to be more than enough. This started off as 1 inch, like I said. I got a lot of sanding on this that I still have to do. A lot of shaping, but I'm very happy with it. It's a very simple project. Hey, why not try and make something new? Doing anything else today? Have a great day, go play outside, but remember, play safe.